And joining us now, Bishop Garrison, Senior National Executive with the National Security Institute. Bishop, great to see you. So much to touch on. You know, the president's made it clear he does not want a meeting that goes nowhere. Stalled tactics not going to be accepted or tolerated this time around, and he wants to bring an end to this war. We know that. So now we're hearing this face-to-face meeting is happening. How significant a step toward peace do you see this being? What do you anticipate will be the biggest stumbling blocks, perhaps, as well?
Well, thank you for having me. Definitely. This is always an opportunity in these moments in this continued chaos to find a path to peace. I truly believe that's what the Trump administration with the United States government is looking for here. On the side of the Russian government and Vladimir Putin, what he's looking for is a path to victory. Now, what that victory looks like for him may differ as time continues, to be perfectly frank. One thing that is certain is that he is going to look for some promises in terms of coming to any type of agreement or coming to the table to actually have what we would consider to be a productive conversation. And that will include ensuring that Ukraine does not make it into NATO, that the United States will fight against that membership. That's going to be a rolling back of sanctions as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this ultimately plays out.
Yeah, it certainly will. You know, the president promising more punishment for countries buying Russian oil after increasing those tariffs on India, as Robert noted. There's speculation right now that these countries are on the phone with Russia saying, you know, you've got to stop this. What are the odds that may be happening, and how much of a motivator do you see that being for Putin, who said his country is sanction proof?
I mean, ultimately, I think for the Russian government, what we have seen is they have interests that they're going to protect. Vladimir Putin wants to see a unified Russian Federation. He wants to hold on to the territories that they've been able to move into and take from Ukraine. So that's going to play a lot in it. I don't know how much external pressure from other countries plays a part unless it affects their bottom line, their financial stability, which we know economically, domestically, Russia is having some issues right now. Sanctions do work, and they're continuing to work, and he's going to push with this relationship with President Trump in order to get some of those sanctions removed. Now, if those countries like India are going to tell him that they're going to push away from petroleum products from Russia, that does have an effect. And we hope that you're going to see more voices from other countries that do exactly that in order to push Russia to the negotiating table and have these conversations in earnest.
Yeah, well, it certainly will have a direct effect on their war operations financially as well. You know, he has an ultimatum, the president, on Russia economically. We also saw President Trump imposing a different kind of ultimatum on Iran to agree to that nuclear deal. 60 days, and then the 61st day, green lighting an Israeli attack. How might that reality, Bishop, also be factoring in to some of the decisions Putin's making right now as well?
Well, we saw this with Putin himself in Russia whenever the president said that he wanted to give them approximately 12 days to come to some type of agreement and a negotiating table previously. And the next day, you saw the Russian military continuing to just bombard a variety of parts of Ukrainian territory. So we have to find ways that are going to push Russia, going to push Vladimir Putin to make hard decisions when it comes to the Ukrainian conflict. And the biggest way that we're going to do that is by hard sanctions, is by a way of hitting him economically. So to your point, he can't move forward with military support. And it looks as though that's the only thing ultimately right now that he understands. However, the United States is in a good position to continue to push and to make that happen.
You know, we have about 30 seconds left, but we were just showing the map, the areas that Russia is successfully controlling in Ukraine at the moment. Putin is messaging that he's winning this war. The reality is this map really hasn't changed significantly in many months. How might the challenges on the battlefield as well be weighing on any potential deal we may see?
Now, remember, this was a war that was going to take hours, if not just simply days or maybe weeks. And now we're into multiple years of it. So, to your point again, I think a very astute one that we haven't seen much movement from the Russian government further, or Russian military further into Ukrainian territory. It seems as though we're ultimately hitting a stalemate and the winter is coming. And that it does not bode well for Russian forces here. They're going to have to deal with very harsh conditions yet again. And we know that their supplies are beginning to again run dry. So I think the timing is right for Russia to find a way to get itself out of this conflict.
Yeah. Well, those are great points. Bishop Garrison, thank you so much for weighing in.